Hi, I'm Brendan from Village Remedies. If you've injured your ankle, these are some simple things that you can go through to start getting it back to feeling good and back to how you want to live. Obviously, with any injury, make sure you check in with your professional, and this is just kind of just more for fun. So seek out professional care. So the first thing that people want to try and restore once they've kind of hurt their ankle or their foot is essentially pain-free range of motion. And then once you've got pain-free range of motion, with all injuries, you're looking to do progressive overload so you can get better flexibility, better strength, and give the different types of tissue enough time to repair. So the first thing that you want to start with, if you've rolled your ankle or you've hurt your calf or you've hurt your foot, is called your ABCs. Now, once again, you're going to do this pain-free. So the ABCs is you're just drawing the letters of the alphabet in capitals with your foot. So if you watch, see how I have to use my calf, all the muscles in my shin, and even the little intricate ones in the foot. So by having it as ABC, I can't remember my alphabet at the moment, D, and then E, you actually are forcing your body to use all the little things, all the different muscles, all quite evenly, without having to think. And by the time you get to Z, that is actually going to be a fair bit of fatigue. If you can get through that quite easily and pain-free, that's perfect, and you're kind of ready to start moving on to the next step of things. So once pain-free range of motion has been secured, the next phase of things is called an asymmetric hold. And that's essentially when you're starting to put a little bit of load or weight through there in the most safe manner. So an asymmetric hold is you have your foot or any kind of limb in a neutral position, and then you add some resistance, typically with your own hand, but it can be other things. But just start with, and you build up to more weight, and you just resist it. So it's an asymmetric hold. So I'm holding that like that. Now that will force the muscles to work, and because you're doing it nice and slowly yourself, if you hit a point where it starts to get sore, you can stop straight away, so you're not risking re-tearing or re-injuring. But that will apply let's imagine that you've done a little bit of a mischief to a muscle and a tendon. So when it kind of starts to repair, it repairs like that. So by doing an asymmetric hold, you actually start to squeeze that tissue, forcing it to kind of realign the different fibers, whether it's muscle or tendon or ligament, and also starting to stress it nice and slowly so that it lays down correct muscle fibers or tendon or tissue in the correct way. That's nice and aligned, so it starts to, basically knit back properly and reduce any scarring and everything like that. And it's a nice step. Once you can do an asymmetric hold without any pain, you're starting to get ready to move on to some actual weighted exercises. Might be a good place to stop. So the different asymmetric holds, it doesn't matter if it's your ankle or your wrist or your neck. You want to do it in all of its ranges of motion. So for the ankle, we've got this direction, we've got that direction, we've got sideways, and we've got the other way. So making sure that even, let's say you've injured this side, you still want to make sure that you do all the other ones, because the ankle is quite a complicated joint. And so even to move in that direction, even if this is the uninjured side, these muscles through here still have to tense and work to allow that kind of joint to move in the correct manner. So making sure that you're not neglecting anything, because you might find that even though it's sore through here, this still is a nice, easy way that you can start to load that tissue without adding any kind of dangerous levels of strength, that you're not risking any kind of re-injury. If it's a bad injury, something as simple as this might be the only thing that you can do. But if you can do something, the hope is that you can, over time, you can build on that and strengthen it, and then hopefully get this also to a point where you can start to load it. So it doesn't matter how small, and it doesn't matter if it's kind of doesn't feel like you're hitting the right spot. Just by moving the leg, you're going to start, helping all the other tissue get better. So you're starting to progress nicely, and you're starting to move into some stretching for the ankles and for the calves and everything like that. The easiest thing you can do to start with is a straight leg calf. And you stand like this with your feet pointing forward, and you go to the wall, and then you can just nice and easily lean in. So I've got my hands here, so I'm dictating how much weight's going through. Any point it's too sore, we want pain-free range of motion. So I can control how that goes down, and I can control how much stretches through there nice and easily. if I'm doing that and it feels good and easy, then I can start to walk my legs out. Ooh, didn't plan on that. And then adding that weight through there like this and coming all the way through. Once again, I'm braced so that if at any point it gets too much, I can stop. So that's the straight-legged one. The next one that you've got is the bent leg. So the bent leg actually works a slightly different muscle in the calf, called your soleus. It can be a little bit over-missed, but it can be really important to make sure that you do it, because you might feel good like this, but the soleus is you just got a bent leg. So once again, but this time I've got my knees bent, and I'm controlling how that kind of comes through. And once I feel really good with that, I can then bent leg coming through here. And I'm holding. With stretches, you want to hold for like 30 to 90 seconds. Someone did some really good research where if you do accumulatively about 5 minutes of stretching a week, so if you do 1 minute of stretching for each kind of muscle group each week work day, by the end of the week you should be starting to feel a little bit better, and you'll be able to build from that. So it's not much. I like to get up and tell myself I've got a minute, do what I need to do, and over time that'll accumulate. So it's just little bits that'll help. So we can't neglect the front of the leg, because you can get quite tight through your shins through here. So easiest way to do that is you can just walk your way through here, coming down, making sure you're on something that won't slip and you feel firm. Maybe you've got something you can hold on to, and then it feels pretty good. If you're feeling really confident, you can go to one leg, and that moves naturally into the next kind of like strengthening exercise. So I'm braced, I'm on something that's not going to slip, holding my hand, I'm doing it with both legs, and we can move like that. If you're feeling really confident and these are feeling really good, you can actually move to, and I'm sure you've seen people in karate movies, one of the reasons why they sit like this and then they come down is it provides a nice stretch through there. So that might be a little bit strong, so you can just start like this, coming down, putting a little bit more weight. If it's too intense, put a little pillow, and that'll actually help your knees as well, until eventually you can kind of sit like that. Great. Now, if you've got tight soles of your feet, or maybe you've got plantar fasciitis or something like that, one of the things that you can be told to do is a toe up kind of calf raise. The reason for that is if I pull my toe up, see how that makes that quite tight through there? And you've got fascia that comes all the way through. So by making the toe go up, you'll be actually starting to stretch through the sole of the foot. And I'll show you how to do that now. So the first phase, super simple. We've already got our little calf raise like that. You can do this. And then that's the straight legged. And then you've got the bent knee one like that as well. So that's going to make sure you get into those nice little bits. Holding for 30 to 90 seconds. But the way that you can start to make it even easier is you can just put your foot on the wall and then start to come through. Nice and simple and easy. If that's too strong, roll up a towel. Boom. And then I can nice and easily do a straight leg calf stretch. And then once I've done that, I can move to my bent calf stretch. Once again, with each stretch, holding it for 30 to 90 seconds. Obviously, if you can do a little bit more, that's a little bit better. But if you do 30 to 90 seconds, 5 days a week, by the end of the week, you should be starting to get enough load through there to start feeling better. So it's a good kind of place to start. So you've done your stretching, you're feeling good, you've got pain-free range of motion. Now you're trying to move into some strength. It's the exact same process, except you're going to start moving. So find a comfortable spot, come out like that. If you're not very strong, having it closer, well, it's actually going to make it nice and easy. You start with 2 legs and you're coming up like this. Once you're feeling confident with 2 legs and trying to be nice and slow, make it harder, you start stepping out. That also will give you a nice stretch through that area. And then when you're really improving, so I aim to do 3 sets of 15 to 20. You move into single leg. So because you're moving to single leg, there's a lot more load. You come back up. And then when you're feeling more confident, you can push yourself out like that. So that'll actually go, if you have a look at my ankle, I'm going to full range of motion. I'm getting a nice stretch and I'm increasing the load. And you can do that really easily without any equipment. Sometimes I'll say to do it on a step, either way. So whatever you find is the most easiest for you, however you can do it, just making sure you're avoiding pain. You know, being a little bit sore after you've had a workout, like a bit of like post, like muscle onset pain, like DOMS, perfectly fine and normal. It's what you kind of want. You're just looking not to re-injure yourself. So after you've done your straight leg, repeat the process with bent leg. I particularly like this one because it forces the soleus to move, and I've got I've injured my knee pretty badly. It actually makes me feel like I can get some blood flow into the back of my knee and has my knee feel better. So once again, by coming out, I'm moving that up. If you have a look, it's also making me work my little intricate muscles in the feet. So if you can do it barefoot, that's kind of better because you're kind of training all those little muscles in your foot. Once you feel confident with that, once again, 15 to 23 reps every day if you can, moving to just one leg, making sure that you keep that knee bent. Then when you're ready to increase it. If you go really far out, once again, make sure you're on something sturdy. It has a lot more load, and it's helping you train, keep your leg nice and sturdy, getting you ready to go back to kind of exercise and running. But if you want, you can move it onto the stairs as well. So just making sure you're holding onto something. That way you don't fall over. So we've done the back of the leg. Can't ignore the front of the leg. This is where you've got your tibialis anterior raises. So I injured this knee pretty badly. So I lost a lot of muscle in my calf, a lot of muscle in my quad, and there's still some kind of laxity in the knee. So when you're moving forward, particularly if you're going down a hill, if you hit your heel like that, it's that muscle in the front that slows the acceleration down. If that's not strong enough or you haven't started to improve its strength, your foot will hit there, it'll slop onto the ground like that, and then your knee kind of cops it. So it's a really good, simple exercise that you can do that'll help your knee without having to put much force through it. So you can start doing it pretty pain-free, and it'll start supporting your knee, and also it'll help your ankle. So super simple. Start like this, go out to a level that you feel comfortable, making sure you hold on to something, and nice and slowly trying to raise your feet up like that. You should start to feel a nice little burn through there. If you can, try and keep your quads on so it keeps your knees nice and straight. For me, once again, I said I had that kind of knee injury. That I find a little bit hard to stabilize the knee, but by making sure that I focus on it when I do this, I'm slowly but surely regaining the control of my quads and helping my knee protect itself. With them, aim to do around, try and build yourself up to 25. And then as you get stronger, you can move yourself further out. So don't slip, make sure you're holding on to something. And the further you come up, that's a lot harder. Awesome. So if you've got plantar fasciitis or the soles of your feet get quite sore and they're weak, a really simple exercise you can do to start to strengthen that, once again, making sure you're pain-free, is called a towel tuck. So put the towel down, and I use my feet, or my toes, to start to grip that and move that through. You'd be surprised how weirdly hard this is. So even if you can just get through the whole towel and like you're fatigued, fantastic. If you do that every day, it's going to start to get stronger and get more and more built up, and it should help support all the muscles through the arch, all the stabilizers through the foot, and it's a surprisingly good workout for the foot, and over time that will help you strengthen those kind of tendons and repair that plantar fascia stuff. So if you've injured your ankle, like you rolled it, or you had a little bit of a calf tear or something like that, or your knee, or even your hip for that matter, after you've started to work your way through your double leg stuff, you're getting your stretches and you're getting stronger, you want to start to improve the stability and the proprioception of where your foot is in space, so it's less likely for it to be re-injured. So start really simply, hold onto the wall, and you stand on one leg. So if you haven't been able to do that for a while, your foot will be really shaky. It'll start, you'll be using all the intricate muscles in your toes. You'll be working really hard, working all the muscles in your knee and also your hip. Once you feel confident with that, then you can move into just standing on one leg without holding on to anything. See, I'm a bit tired. We've been doing a few of these videos. So that's already a little bit hard. And that's going to start to get proprioception, which is your brain knowing where your foot is in ankle. So where your limbs are in space, which is really important if you're going to be running or returning to sport, because you do kind of forget. So it's an easy, simple, safe way that you can start to regain that kind of strength and confidence. And then once you've got that, imagining that you feel confident not holding on, the next thing you want to do is you want to test, can you move in the 4 directions? So you're standing on one leg and you just got to simply tap. So the reason why that's good is if you have a look at my foot, see how this foot has to work to kind of like stabilize, and I'm having to shift my weight, having to know where I am. So once I've done that and I feel good and confident, you want to add a little bit more complexity, and you want to see if you can maintain your balance on something that's a little bit uneven, because we're going to walk on grass, we're going to walk on sand. So this is a nice, safe way that you can start to test that stability. So you stand on the thing, and then you start doing the same process. So instantly, it's more challenging for my stabilizers, and it's going to get a much bigger workout. And I'm already starting to feel good and strong and fatigued. Perfect. So you've injured your ankle, or you've even injured your knee or your hip, and you want to get back to jumping. You've gone through your pain-free range of motion, you've started stretching, you've started getting stronger, you've got your proprioception back. Now you want to start to test it progressively and nicely and easily to get you back to what you were doing in your sport. So the first thing you want to start with is just 2-legged jumping. So if your ankle's sore, if your knee's sore, you start with 2 legs. Just being easy on yourself, because the last thing you want to do is work really hard and then get to a point where you do something and it hurts, and then you feel like you've stepped backwards. It's normal and natural to have some things kind of happen and like a little bit of a flare up, but by being nice and slow and progressing, you'll keep them small and to a minimum, and you won't lose too much momentum. So start with your jumps. First thing you want to be able to do, 2-legged. The idea is you can get it to at least 50, pain-free. And then more importantly, how do you feel the next day? It's okay to have a little bit of muscle fatigue, like you've worked it out, perfect, but you don't want to be at a point where it flares and gets really sore for a few days. If that's the case, thank God you did the jumps, because if you'd gone for a run, it would have been a lot more load through the knees and through the ankles, and it probably would have been a lot more mischief. But we'll imagine you've done your double legs, you've got yourself up to about 50, pain-free. I would suggest start at 10, wait to see how you feel the next day, and then build from there. Then you're going to move to your single leg. And once again, you want to see if you can do 50 hops, pain-free. And then if you remember how we talk about regaining that kind of stability in different ranges of motion, you want to do the same thing when jumping. So you'll start, once again, double-legged, jumping in the 4 different directions. So that's going to make you work the different muscles, make sure you're testing and getting the ligaments to kind of grow back. Start easy, just do 1 round, or 1 to 10 rounds. See how you feel the next day. You probably are going to be a little bit muscle sore. Good, that means that you've tested the tissue, it's started to try and regrow and get stronger, but you don't want to go too hard that you can't move for a few days. So just nice and slowly. Once you can do that with 2 legs, guess what? You go to 1 leg. Same idea. Once you can do that, that's when you move to your more, starting to get a little bit more into that kind of jumping idea. And then once you can do, once again, 50 of them, with no great worry, you're pretty safe to move into like a walk, run or a walk light jog. Just do 30 seconds of running. Don't push yourself. It's more about how you feel the next day, particularly if you've had an inflammatory type injury. You might feel really good at the time, but that's because the blood's flowing through there and you're happy to be back doing it. But it's about how you feel the next day. So if you've got an inflammatory type injury, slow it down, take your time with it, give your body the time to repair the tissue and feel better. Let's say that you've got a tendinopathy, like an Achilles tendinopathy. The way that they imagine it is essentially the tendon has become waterlogged with inflammatory material. If it's been around a while, you can have blood vessels go through it and even nerves go through. So with exercises to help tendons, what they talk about is tensioning that tissue, once again, making sure that you're safe and you progress it over time so that it wrings out that inflammation and then stimulates the body to actually regrow nice, healthy tissue. If it's been around for a while and you do have that kind of nerve and artery idea, you can see by doing that, it kind of like chokes that tissue out and encourages the body to put down more healthy tissue. It's slow and it's annoying, but there's some really good research around it. And essentially, you can't just do a quick hold because that doesn't really do much. But if I hold and then tension it over time, the force starts to go through that. You want to be holding for at least 90 kind of seconds. Once again, at the time when you first start doing it, you're probably going to feel good because that wrings out the inflammation. That's why with tendinopathies and things, you feel sore in the morning and then midday you feel good because you've got the inflammation out. But you want to wring it out, stimulate it, feel better, but not go too hard that the next day you're really sore. So start gentle. So if you do have a tendinopathy in your Achilles, the classic thing that they talk about is coming up for an isometric hold and then very slowly lowering down. And if you can, coming up and holding for that 60 to 90 seconds and then coming down for 60 to 90 seconds. Just wringing out that tissue, trying to encourage it to feel better. And then if you can, going all the way past, just to give it that nice good stretch. So, if you've injured yourself, or you're just looking to give yourself like a little bit of a self-massage, if you've had a tear, like the rule of thumb is you don't want to get into the actual local area for at least 2 weeks. The reason for that is you imagine that there's a scab in there and you don't want to get in there and pull the scab off. So after you've had it, like general rule of thumb, you know, if you've had a little bit of a tear, you felt like a little bit of a pop, make sure you check in with your health professional, but wait at least 2 weeks before you get in there and try and break it up because you could reopen the tissue and make it a little bit worse. But so we'll assume you're out of that stage and you're just looking to give yourself a little bit of a massage. So all the way down through here, if you've hurt your foot, if you've got plantar fasciitis or thigh muscles through here, the calf in the front and the back is going to affect how much that kind of moves. You've got muscles that come down through here that go into the arch. That's really important that we take care of. So, and then you've got all the little intricate ones through here. So, if this is sore, by starting in the calf first, you naturally start to take some of the pressure out of there, get some nice blood flow, and you'll make your life a lot easier. If the calf's sore, you can start in the foot and then move your way up, just to make your life easier. And I'm also going to show you some acupressure points that can start the process. So the first point that you want to use for acupressure before you get into this is a nice little point called large intestine 4. So it's basically, if you have a look, that kind of mound, you can find it in there and give that a nice little massage. This is a great point for pain anywhere in the body, and you'll probably see me use it for pretty much everything. And that's because it's just generally good for improving kind of pain relief and blood flow. And it's kind of nice. So just find the point, massage it in a nice circle, 30 to 90 seconds. Please don't hurt yourself. And in Chinese medicine, we talk about the body being interconnected. So we can actually use the hand to see if we can help the foot. If you imagine the thumb's like the big toe. So let's say you've got plantar fasciitis or you've got tight through here. One of the classic kind of areas to need a lot of massage is actually that part of the thumb. So by starting through there, getting into that, you're going to start to feel your foot relax and feel better. Traditionally, we say do the opposite side. Obviously, I'm just using this side, but both sides will help. So pick a hand, massage the other hand. You already start to set up through there. The other classic point for like sole foot pain is just in here. There's a nice crystally point And it just feels kind of nice rubbing through there. If you've rolled your ankle and you've got or you've got like a little bit of a calf strain, the great points for that are massaging around this area through here. So if you see this knobbly bit, a really fantastic point to release the back of the calf is just around here. And you should find there's a nice little hollow and a little tender spot. So that's small intestine 6. And for us, that can be really great at releasing the calf. And then if you've got ankle pain, or you've rolled your ankle, this line through here. So if you start on the wrist joint, you probably find a little hollow and a little bit of tension through there. And just working your way through, coming all the way up to triple energizer 5. And that's a nice meaty sore bit. That'll help you with all kind of like rotations and stability. So by the time you've done that, you should already be feeling pretty good in the foot. And then if you want to do some local massage, really easy. So start away from the side of pain. So we'll just imagine that I've hurt my calf. So I'm going to start with my foot. These muscles have fascia that come through here, or even tendons that come through and attach. So I'll just start from my foot and I'll work that sole in through there, coming in through there. If I've got plantar fasciitis, typically that's going to be exquisitely tender. So you can get in there and give that a little bit of a massage, making sure you work nice and succinctly from top to bottom. Give your toes a little bit of a stretch. That'll help open up the tissue through there, making sure you move them through there, and then the same, kind of pulling through like that. You have little muscles that go in between each one of those little bones that help your toes move and help stabilize your foot. So don't neglect them. Coming through, starting here. Obviously I'm moving a little bit quick for the video, but take your time. Go through it a few times. And then not neglecting the side. If you've rolled your ankle, this is where the tendons kind of get damaged. So once again, make sure you're out of that 2-week window. But by giving a little bit of a nice massage through that area, you're going to stimulate some blood flow, and it can actually relieve some of the pain, and it can help some of those tissues start to knit back a little bit better together. So don't neglect that area. So we've done the foot. Now we're going to move to the calf. The calf is pretty easy. For that, I'm just assuming I'm doing it myself. If you start at the Achilles, so if you do have Achilles tendinopathy, giving that a little bit of a nice self-massage can actually reduce some of the pain, stimulate some of the blood flow. But then if I stay on that line, I'll be going through all the muscles that attach onto that as well, and behind them the little foot stabilizers. So I can get in there, give that a nice massage. And you want to work your way in just nice and easy little circles. So I've done that side, I'm going to come to this side. Nice little lines. And if I go in a line like this, I can't go wrong. I'm not going to miss any muscles. I'm going to a pressure that feels comfortable for me. I'm going to take care of all of them, get some nice blood flow all the way down to the foot, and then right along the bone there as well. So this, if you've got shin splints, the muscles that come and attach onto the bone are the ones that get really tight. So by making sure I come through like that, I would slow this down, you know, and then we're not going to neglect the underside. So you can just moving through like that. Nice and easy. You can do this watching telly. Some people will get a ball or they'll get like a roller, but it's the same idea. You're just trying to move through like that. If you use your hands, you know, there's less risk of injury, and you can be a little bit more precise. You can make sure you go through all the different lines, make sure you don't miss anything. And now we can't neglect the front. So once again, I'm watching telly, I've got my foot like that. I'm going to do it nice and systematically, starting next to the bone. And these are all great acupressure points to help with digestion and sinus for that matter. So by doing this, you can help your own digestion and your sinuses. And then I move to the side. These are all the little foot stabilizers. So let's say you've just started getting back into doing things. They're probably going to be a bit sore and tender. So give them a little bit of a massage to help the blood flow, help them recover. And basically just help you feel better. If you find a sore bit, you can stop and hold 30 to 90 seconds. You should feel that start to release, and then moving on. And then not forgetting, we have our fibular bone through here. So we've already done the underside. So I'm going to make sure that we come nice and close. Go through all those aspects. Really good.